Hi, I'm John Dinkle, and this is the Growth in Business podcast for Citybiz, where we talk with local and national leaders in sales, marketing, and business development to learn about new and trusted strategies to grow your business. I'm here today with Christina Ryan, partner and head of business development and marketing for Hartman Executive Advisors. Welcome, Christina, and thanks for being here.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I thought we'd start our conversation by taking a couple of minutes to tell us a little bit about Hartman Executive Advisors. And then while you're at it, could you tell us a little bit about your role there and your a brief background, please?
Sure. So Hartman Executive Advisors is an independent technology leadership and advisory firm. And we're focused on helping mid-market executives align business and IT. So the leaders who hire us, in many cases, they don't have strategic IT leadership on their team. And they recognize that at the root of their challenges and sometimes their opportunities is that they don't have anybody in a strategic role who's really making sure that business and technology are working well together and that technology is positioned to drive the strategy of the business. We are headquartered in Timonium, Maryland, just north of Baltimore. We do work across the country, and we've got about 80 people on our team now who are serving a portfolio of clients by providing IT leadership and subject matter expertise within the different disciplines of technology, ranging from cybersecurity to software selection, business intelligence and data analytics, change management, and more. So we don't sell any technology, we don't represent any vendors or resell any products. And that's really what allows us to sit on our client side of the table and help them make good decisions that are based on their business needs.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And what's your role there and a little background about yourself?
Yes, this will be my 15th year at Hartman, which is hard to believe. Time flies when you're having fun. So I have been in a variety of roles in my time at the firm. I am a partner in the company, and I lead our business development and marketing teams. My background personally is in marketing and finance. I actually happened to meet Dave and Murray Hartman, our founders, at my previous employer. We were working together on a mutual event, and I was really intrigued by what they were doing and saw a real opportunity for this service in the market. And so I was able to, make a transition at a perfect time in my life, and really to shift my focus into the marketing and the business development arenas. So that's really the genesis of my role at Hartman today in managing both of those teams, is that I have lived in both of those roles throughout my tenure here.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And it's good to have you here. So as you know, we want to talk about growth today. So I'd like to start off by asking you, what has been your greatest strategy around the growth of Hartman so far this year?
It's hard to pick one strategy because we do a lot. But, ultimately, I think one of the things that's really been driving our growth is a change that we made ultimately around the time of COVID, and that was to shift to an industry-centric model. So we restructured our team internally, our client team, as well as our business development and marketing teams. And so now that has really enabled our business development and marketing teams to be much more focused in what they do as they serve a dedicated practice and specific industry verticals. Rather than just having a firm-wide strategy, we now have individual strategies and plans for each industry that really help us to grow within those particular sectors. We also removed the geographic boundaries that we once had, and we have, now I think we have clients in 16 states. We have people throughout the country, and because of COVID, folks got much more comfortable, right? Working virtually, where we used to have every meeting, face to face. It's different now. And that's really also impacted what we can do from a business development and marketing standpoint. And really what others, are comfortable with and expect from us in terms of learning more about Hartman and how we can potentially work together.
Yeah, that's great. I like what you had to say about being kind of industry specific, because you can really have your business development and marketing people and, the partners, I guess, or the industry leaders that are calling on those industries to be industry experts, right? And they get involved with various associations or centers of influence that are really key to just their particular area of expertise. Because otherwise you can't be an expert at everything, right? And it's kind of nice to be able to. I've worked in a situation like that, and it does work really well. And I like what you also had to say about the change in the pandemic. I think that's opened up a lot of opportunities for a lot of companies to take things nationally. And I know you all have done a great job over the past couple of years in reaching out more nationally and taking on more clients around the country as opposed to just regionally.
Absolutely. And to the point you just made there, that association strategy within the particular industries we serve has been really important to us. So we are very engaged with the associations that serve the industries where we're focused. We're doing everything from, speaking at their conferences to sponsoring roundtables, participating in golf tournaments. And that really has allowed us to create brand awareness and build relationships within a tight-knit community of people. And ultimately, that's been very effective in helping us to build our name and our presence within these particular sectors.
Yeah, it's an interesting tactic, and being ingrained with those particular industry associations. Now, are those relationships for the long term, or do you go in there and you've found out that over, if you spend a year or two with that association, you really have then built the relationships there with the right people, and then can move on to maybe another association, or do you tend to stay with an association for a long time?
That's a great question. And honestly, it varies. When we don't stay with them for a long time, which doesn't happen very often, it tends to be because there's a diminishing market and it doesn't make sense for us to spend as much time as we once did there. So in some cases where that's happened, we're still active as members of the organization. However, we're spending more of our time and energy with groups that have more opportunities or more members that fit within our target market.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. And what are your three inhibitors to growth, or what have you seen over the past year that have kind of hurt growth at all?
Well, the first one is probably the answer that everybody gives you, which is talent.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, it is. It is such a challenging market right now from a people perspective. I have open roles on both the marketing side and the business development side that we've been working to fill for a long time, and it's very challenging. As a result, we've got fewer people taking on more internally, and then we have other things that we just have to say we can't get to this right now. We can't focus on that until we have the bandwidth, the resources, and the expertise that we need on our team. The other one that comes to mind is awareness. So we're in a really unique space in what we do. There's tons of IT companies out there. There's IT consulting everywhere. There are very few that are providing leadership and that are providing it in a fractional or a part-time model. The companies who hire us, they, in most cases, have never had a chief information officer or a chief technology officer or an information security officer. Either they can't afford it, or they don't need it full time, or they haven't experienced what that role brings to the company, and therefore it hasn't been a priority hire. It tends to be the last one of the C-suite that is filled. And so from that perspective, you see companies popping up now that are offering VCIO services, which is virtual CIO services. You see more and more accounting and professional services firms offering tech advisory services. But there aren't very many out there that are coming into companies in a fully agnostic way to really help them move the needle, right, and drive change without pushing a particular agenda. But oftentimes the root of their various issues is ineffective or no leadership. And ultimately, that's a gap that we fill. But getting to the root of the challenge of that for Hartman is that unlike the fields of law or accounting or banking, which everybody's very familiar with and they've been around, seemingly forever, technology's not. It hasn't been. And so the awareness around what somebody is looking for and how a firm like ours fulfills that, it's not quite there yet. And we believe ultimately that it will be, right? And that idea of rounding out your advisors, so to speak, with that technology advisor is going to be the way of the future.
So, with the pandemic hitting, and it seems like, Dave and Marie were kind of ahead of their time when they had this idea of a fractional person. Now it's a lot more popular, and there's a lot of, CHROs, fractional chief business development officers, fractional, chief financial officers, things like that. How has this change impacted you guys? I would imagine that it's impacted you positively from an awareness standpoint, because a lot more people are looking to outsource these types of roles.
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. And we do that ourselves at Hartman. We really believe in this model, and the resources that we bring to our clients are oftentimes resources that they wouldn't be able to hire on their own, right? Because of, of some of what we're offering them into this position and the ability to serve multiple clients, that's really desirable for people. And so from that standpoint, I definitely see our clients recognizing that it's so hard for them to find the right talent and retain it, that the model is very intriguing, and it's right sized. It's designed to fit their needs and to mix with their culture. We say we're in the business of technology, meaning that everything we come at is from a business perspective. And ultimately, we want to look and feel and act just like an employee would. We're accountable leaders.
Well, you bring up a good point. I was actually out with someone earlier today talking about this, and their reasoning for looking to outsource was just what you had mentioned, is that they can't find people, and the market is such that even if they find the right person, it's more economical to outsource, and you also get the expertise behind the company, as opposed to just kind of one person. So I think that is becoming more and more popular, and I imagine people are a little more open to the idea since there are a lot more of these types of services being offered. So that's a good thing.
That is a great point. That team approach is something that really goes a long way in helping our clients get more than just one individual, but those subject matter experts behind them.
Right. Well, I want to dig a little bit deeper into, a couple of things around growth. But, in your opinion, what's more important to a company's growth? Is it inbound lead generation or outbound lead generation?
That's a tough one. I mean, both are important. The inbound lead gen is, if you're doing it the right way and you're generating qualified leads, it's efficient. I mean, there is no denying the power of inbound lead gen. However, from an outbound standpoint, the relationships are also really important. And so I don't think that one would replace the other per se, but I do believe that inbound can be a very significant provider of new leads and new opportunities when done right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it does seem to be inbound lead generation is to be more popular these days, and more money being spent on that. But people do business with people they like and they trust, and you really can't get that through inbound lead generation. It's really having someone out there, outbound, building relationships and meeting with decision makers. Speaking of with COVID kind of finally, I don't say ending, but us dealing with it, and now being out to go meet with people and go to events and things like that. Looking back over the past 2 years and us not being able to do that so much, how important do you think relationship building is in today's environment as we move kind of out of this and hopefully back into, a little bit of the norm?
In some ways, I think it's more important than ever. Because of COVID, I think people got so insular with their networks that if you're not spending time developing relationships and building up your network, you're really losing out, right, on so much that is out there and so many people that are worth connecting with. you just said, people do business with those that they like and trust. And taking the time to get to know someone personally and professionally really puts you in a position to understand what's driving their goals and to ultimately figure out if there's an opportunity to help them, um, and what success looks like in their eyes.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. Um, One other question I wanted to ask. I know we're running out of time, but I did want to ask you: are you leveraging your entire team to promote growth?
We are. So we have a dedicated business development team, but we also recognize that everybody on the team has an opportunity to engage in our growth. And when I talk about growth, I should have said this earlier, I'm talking about new business growth. Our team, our operational team, is very focused on our clients and growth within our clients. But from a new business side, our team, regardless of the role that they're in, finds themselves in various situations where they come across somebody who is intrigued by what we do or who could benefit from our help. And ultimately, we just kind of going back to the relationship side of things, John, we are so deeply rooted in relationships and believe in giving. Right. And so whether a company is hiring Hartman or not, we're going to do everything that we can to be helpful to them and to be a strong connector and to get them to a good place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And to your point too, that, everybody in the organization has a network, right? Whether it's their, personal network, their social network or family or professional, what have you. And if, if you're able to leverage that network and bring relationships into the organization, I can imagine not only that is helping your, current clients, but also obviously bringing in new leads to the organization, bringing in new relationships. It helps them build on their own skills to do those types of things. So I think it can be a really powerful way to engage your team and at the same time, get more leads into the organization.
No doubt. And it's a lot of fun. I think that people have enjoyed being part of the growth. We provide various training opportunities and celebrations and things to really get people jazzed about what we're doing, and to express our gratitude for all that they do for us.
Yeah. Well, and it has to start at the top, right? And have that mentality of growth or that culture of growth that you guys are looking for and have been successful with. And, to your point, if you can rally, behind the team, there's a lot of people in the organization that aren't in, leadership positions or sales positions, but they do want to help. And they, here's a way that they can help above and beyond obviously what they're doing in their jobs. But if you can, like you said, make it fun, make it collaborative, give them an opportunity to earn additional dollars or rewards or things like that. It can be a really successful way to bring in, new relationships for sure.
It has been.
Yeah. Well, Christina, I think we're about out of time. I really appreciate you being here today and sharing your expertise around growth. We really appreciate it. If the audience wants to get more information about Hartman Executive Advisors, where would they go?
You can check out our website, which is hartmanadvisors.com. You can also find us on LinkedIn and all the social media channels.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We really, again, appreciate it. This has been the Growth in Business podcast for Citybiz, and I'm John Dinkle, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again, Christina.
Thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it.